In 1989, a woman named Cindy James was discovered under mysterious circumstances in a quiet suburb of Richmond, British Columbia. Her hands and feet were tied behind her back. Authorities later learned she had a high level of sedatives in her system. Yet the official theory? That she had done this to herself. For nearly a decade, Cindy said she was being watched, followed, and threatened. But when her life ended in the most suspicious way, many refused to believe she hadn't planned it. This is the unresolved case of Cindy James, a woman whose cries for help went ignored and whose truth may never be fully known. Part 1. A Quiet Life Before the Storm. Cindy James was born Cynthia Hack in 1944. A warm, intelligent woman, she built a respected career as a nurse and administrator at a children's hospital in Vancouver. In 1965, she married psychiatrist Dr. Roy Makepeace. The couple divorced 16 years later in 1982. Just months after their separation, Cindy's world changed. She reported receiving frightening phone calls with disturbing whispers and threats in the middle of the night. At first, she thought it was a prank, but soon the incidents escalated. She began telling police that someone was following her, watching her, and that it felt personal. Part 2. The harassment intensifies. Over the next 7 years, Cindy filed nearly 100 police reports. She claimed her phone lines were being tampered with. Her home was being broken into. Messages were left on her car and doorstep that were cryptic, threatening, and anonymous. Her garden was vandalized, and fires were set near or around her property. Sometimes she was physically harmed and found bruised or in a distressed state. One time she was discovered in her garage, barely conscious, with a nylon stocking around her neck. The police found the scene odd, but said there was no concrete evidence of a break-in. Cindy's friends and family were divided. Some believed she was truly in danger. Others were unsure what to think. But one thing was certain: Cindy believed someone was out to hurt her. Part 3. Doubt and Decline. As the years passed and police failed to make arrests, Cindy's behavior changed. She became anxious, withdrawn, and increasingly private. She began documenting everything by taking photos, writing journals, and hiring private investigators. One of those investigators, Ozzy Caban, was deeply disturbed by what he saw. He believed she was being targeted. At times, Cindy hesitated to tell police what happened, either out of fear or frustration that they wouldn't take her seriously. Eventually, she was hospitalized for exhaustion and anxiety. Doctors suggested she was under severe psychological stress, possibly trauma-related. But even then, Cindy never stopped saying the same thing: "I'm not making this up. Someone is after me." Part 4. The incidents continue. In 1983, her house caught fire under suspicious circumstances. She said she saw someone watching nearby, but by the time help arrived, no one was there. In another event, she was found outside, confused and barefoot, with injuries she couldn't fully explain. Again, police were skeptical. There were no fingerprints, no suspects, no definitive evidence that anyone else had been there. Some investigators began to suggest Cindy might be staging these incidents. Others believed that theory was unfair, and that the lack of evidence was due to a clever, careful offender. Still, no one was ever charged, and Cindy's fear only grew. Part 5. A Disappearance and a Shocking Discovery. In May 1989, Cindy James vanished. That day, she had deposited a paycheck, bought groceries, and appeared to be in a normal state of mind. Hours later, her car was found abandoned. Her belongings, groceries, a wallet, were still inside. 2 weeks passed. Then, a man mowing his lawn in Richmond made a shocking discovery. Cindy's body was found in his backyard. She was laying fully clothed, her hands and feet tied behind her, and toxicology reports showed a large amount of sedatives in her system. Investigators said the amount was enough to render someone unconscious quickly, but didn't explain how she could have tied herself up in that condition. The knots were tight and complex. Some believed it was impossible for her to do it alone. Others said it was just barely within the realm of possibility. Part 6. Suicide or something more. The case was officially ruled undetermined, not an accident, not foul play, but also not clearly self-inflicted. The police leaned toward the idea that Cindy had ended her life by choice, pointing to her mental health history and lack of physical evidence. Her family and friends pushed back hard. Her sister Melanie spoke publicly, saying, "She was terrified. She told us someone was going to do this, and then it happened." Private investigator Ozzy Caban agreed. He believed she was targeted, and that whoever was behind it planned the entire thing to avoid detection. Her ex-husband, Dr. Makepeace, was questioned but never charged. Cindy had once named him as a person of concern, but no definitive connection was found. In 1990, a public inquest lasted over 80 days. More than 80 witnesses testified. The jury concluded, Cindy did not cause her own death, but the method and responsible party could not be determined. Part 7. Unanswered questions. To this day, Cindy's case remains open, but unsolved. Some believe she suffered from a mental health condition that caused her to imagine or create the threats. Others believe she was the victim of prolonged psychological torment and that someone took advantage of her vulnerability. There is also the theory that both things can be true, that Cindy was genuinely struggling, but also genuinely being harassed by someone who knew she wouldn't be believed. Her story is now a symbol of what happens when victims aren't taken seriously, when patterns are ignored, and when someone's truth is buried under disbelief. Was Cindy James suffering from internal demons, or was she the target of a manipulative and patient predator? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, some mysteries are never fully solved, but the truth still matters. If you enjoy deep dives into real-life mysteries, unresolved cases, and psychological true crime, subscribe to Crime Narration for weekly episodes that uncover the chilling, the strange, and the unsolved. Because every story deserves to be heard, and some answers are still waiting to be found.